Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another PayTrace Power30. My name is Sam Johnson. I'm one of the sales trainers here. For those of you that are new to these webinars, special welcome to you guys. This is your opportunity to get an inside look at PayTrace and meet some of the people behind the scenes. Today, our guest is Ms. Marcy Taylor. Welcome,
Hello.
Marcy.
Hello.
Or welcome back, I should say. We can't see you. You can see us. We can't hear you, but you can hear us. That doesn't mean that we don't want to encourage interaction. So we're going to be talking about some cool stuff here today, but we want to hear your questions, your comments, your emotional outbursts. So as those pop up, if you wiggle your mouse around, you should see a little Q&A box. Please send us in your questions. We're going to take about 20 to 25 minutes just chit-chatting here, but we want to be able to answer your questions by the end of this call today. So, Marcy, I'm gonna preface this by saying I always like to open these up with a little bit of an icebreaker about our guests. And Marcy kind of served me up a slow fastball here on this one because last weekend she came into the office and she was missing a chomper. Right? It's fall, the leaves are falling, but apparently something else is falling. Do you want to just do a quick debrief on what happened?
I went down to Boise to see my girlfriend and was in the shower, had one of those sample packets of shampoo and didn't have a scissor to cut it. So I thought, oh, I'll just use my tooth. And out came my tooth. That was lovely. That one right there.
So
here, look at, we've got a chiclet here. I could stick that right up there.
Our marketing team was concerned that Marcy might lose the tooth during this call today. So we brought in some backups, which is something else. So I appreciate you being a good sport about it, Marcy. And
it's not a good look.
No, you're fine. Nobody notices. So if you guys registered, you probably know what the topic of today's call is. We've got some new products out, right?
Payment Link.
Payment Link. Yep. We have a new PayTrace GO app that was just released to the, to the iOS systems.
Yep.
Android soon to follow.
Yep.
So we're going to talk a little bit about those. So the Payment Link, this kind of came as a rebrand from a previous product, the shopping cart.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Tell us, what can we expect from this new Payment Link product? What's the application for it?
Yeah, so Payment Link, as Sam said, was our previous shopping cart, and which was a little confusing because it says shopping cart, makes it sound like it's an ISV. And we have taken away the product side of our shopping cart and we've renamed it Payment Link. And it has two functionalities. It's send out an email to a customer to pay so that they can just click on a link and go and pay. And then the other functionality is they can easily create the HTML code to put a Pay Now button on their website. So for any merchant that has a website, I would highly recommend this is the product you need to have.
That's awesome. So what types of merchants are we seeing that are starting to adopt this Payment Link?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, all kinds. A lot of property management, so a lot of apartment complexes, insurance agents, a lot of doctors, trying to think, advertising. What are a couple
which is
more?
B2B, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Which is awesome.
Right.
Did you say nonprofits? Did we get that one?
Oh yeah, exactly. Nonprofits it's great for, because if you think about it, in the summer times when people are at their lake places or not going to church regularly during the summer, they can go online and make their pledges online.
Which is awesome. And I think we actually have a demo of the Payment Link that we can pull up. James, would you mind pulling up a quick demo of that? Some of you may have seen this webinar already where we've walked through it, but this is a pretty cool product. Marcy, do you want to just kind of talk about what we're seeing on the screen here?
Sure. So this is your design page. So it lets you go in, and we pulled over the primary color that the merchant had before because we automatically moved them over to the new Payment Link. And then they have an option for a secondary color, like if they want to make their text a different color. They have the ability to upload their logo.
Yeah, I'll scroll down there a little bit. There you
go. Logo. And so what you're seeing with the new Payment Link is it's just more of a modern user interface. You're going to see, one page where you make your payment. The second page is going to be where you enter your card information. Third page is going to be where you review it. And then the fourth page is going to be submit. So instead of that really, really busy page that we used to have, it was all on one. And if you made one mistake, you had to go back and redo everything. This one, you won't get past a page if there's something wrong there. You know.
And when we say our old shopping cart product, found out today it's really old.
It was one of the first ones that our founder, Scott Judkins, said he created.
Yeah. In fact, I think our very first merchant was the one that kind of requested to have that kind of legacy shopping cart product. So probably time for a little bit of an update on there.
Yep.
So super excited about that. Really quick, if you don't mind, James, I did create a poll. I'm curious. Can we launch a poll really quick? And I want to hear from our audience. How many of you guys are actively using the payment link? How many of you guys have merchants that are using the payment link? So let's take about, 10 seconds, launch that. All right, we'll take about 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and we will shut it down. Fantastic. Awesome, guys. That's good data for us. Sounds like a few of you guys probably still need to learn a little bit more about this, but we're really excited about the ones that are currently using this and would love to get some feedback from you. So very good. Before today's call, we actually had a question sent in from one of our reps. His name is Todd, and we actually know Todd very well. He's been with us for a long time. Hey, Todd, if you're on there. Todd, and this is a really good informed question because we have a few different types of products that can send out essentially an emailed link, right? We have this payment link product, but we also have our invoicing tool.
Right. So we have 2, and they're very different. It can depend on what the merchant wants as to which one they'll use. So we have our payment link that goes out. It's a multi-use link. It never expires. The amount is not hard-coded. So for instance, if a customer calls their orthodontist and says, what's my balance? And they say $750. We'll send you out a payment link. You can make the payment online, and they attach an invoice. And maybe that customer feels like, gosh, I can really only afford $350. And I'm sure that medical doctor or orthodontist is going to say, I'm happy with that. Just pay something. They can edit the amount and make a different payment. Is that the only one? It seems like I'm forgetting one on that. Anyway, so that's payment link. And then through the API, there is email and invoice. Very different from emailing from payment link. Through the API, the amount is hard-coded. The amount expires in 14, or the link expires in 14 days. It's a one-time use link. So it's really good for merchants that have large ticket items where, they're a custom cabinet outfit and someone's got to pay a large deposit before they'll put in their custom order. Or it's maybe a landscaping service where they have to make a large down payment before they're scheduled their job. So it's usually higher average ticket merchants that like that, and they want the control of it. And obviously paying that specific amount is very important to them, where the other one is a little more flexible and is just good for many, many merchants, many churches, charitable organizations.
Regardless, it sounds like it's just going to make the receivables process a lot smoother for the merchants, right?
Who doesn't want to get paid? Here I am, if I'm a dentist and I'm out on Fridays golfing and I'm off on the weekends, it's like, I still want my customers to go online and pay me, so they know I'm closed, but they know they can go online and make the payment. So
I used to work in sales, and I remember when I was back in the sports industry, I would have to call up my customers, my clients all the time trying to collect payments from them. And that was such a huge pain.
Yeah.
And frankly, a waste of my time.
Right. And if you're sending the link out to someone, you're not the one keying it in. So it saves on the staff's time too, because that customer is making that payment.
Right.
You're not handling that card information. And, they can pay, sometimes you'll think of, oh, I forgot to pay that bill. And it's 10 o'clock at night. Well, you still can go online and make that payment.
And how many times have we run into merchants that really do not want to touch any sort of card data, right? They are so worried about risk and fraud and all that stuff. Yeah. And they're like, as long as we can have the customer pay for it on their end, that's perfect for us.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I just got an invoice today from my the cleaning company I just started using, and they said they're going paperless. So the morning of your cleaning appointment, you get an email saying go online and make your payment.
Awesome.
There you go.
Right? Super easy. That's all we're about, efficiency, right? Well, there's a couple features in there that when we've done these initial webinars and kind of launches, there's been some buzz about. And one of them is the fee section that's in the payment link. Could you kind of elaborate on what that is and how merchants can take advantage of this?
Sure. So this is the one product that we've allowed merchants to institute a fee on it. So we used to call it convenience fee. We've taken off the word convenience and just said fee, because there are various fees out there. There's various rules around those fees. Your merchant service provider should know what those rules are and be able to guide merchants. But it is the only product that we have where you can institute a fee to help merchants offset credit card fees.
And with that, we do have a couple different options with regards to the fee setting, right? It can either be a flat fixed amount or
a percentage.
A percentage, correct. So there is some flexibility on there depending on how the merchant wants to set up that structure, which is kind of cool, I think.
Yeah.
So very neat. And recurring payments is another thing that's included on, well, not included, but can be enabled on the payment link.
I was just thinking that. So if a merchant has recurring payments, they can allow a recurring payment plan to be set up through the payment link.
And what's cool about that is that it's customer facing, right? So they set up their own payment plan, which I've seen in nonprofits, this used very successfully, right? If merchants want to come in or have their donors set up their own donation schedule.
Exactly.
Right, which is super cool. That's going to make it so much easier to collect those donations.
Right, and you can have recurring payments and enable it on the payment link, but if you don't want people to create payment plans on the payment link, you can disable it as well.
So I haven't looked at the question super in-depthly yet, but one that we were getting quite a bit was, when is payment link available for us to sell?
So it is available now. Most everyone who had shopping cart before has been put on the new payment link. And the only hurdle left to go is getting that product cart completely turned off so that we can, when someone boards a new account, it will be payment link.
Right.
So for about a week here, it's going to be, if you board a new account or you add shopping cart, payment link, it's still going to say shopping cart. Just send in a quick email to support@paytrace.com and say, please move this merchant over to the new payment link. As soon as we get that this week of ending product cart, everybody will always see payment link when they add it.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to get as many people on this as soon as possible, right? And I think we have a pretty decent chunk of merchants now using it pretty successfully. So
yeah, it went smoothly. I had a couple partners that were a little nervous about it because we redirected them automatically, all of their merchants at once. And, you know, the two that I work closely with were actually quite surprised that it wasn't as bad as they thought.
That's a nice way to put it. It wasn't as bad. It's pretty cool. We've gotten a lot of really great feedback. We have gotten one question on here from Willie asking if we can send out the payment link via text message or SMS. What does that look like on PayTrace?
Not on this first iteration. We'll definitely put it through as feedback because that that's great feedback. Thank you. So we'll give that to the product team. But this is our first iteration. We'd love to improve it. And that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah. If you really want to do a workaround, you could literally just take the payment link and copy it and type it in on a text message and send that out.
Exactly.
It's not the easiest way, but it's a good first iteration on this, I'd suppose. But yeah, email or put up the Pay Now button, I think is probably the best functionality for it as it stands. Right. So you had mentioned a couple times with the shopping cart, we used to have the products functionality with that. And we've removed that, we've end of life that, but there were a bunch of merchants that were using that for products, right? What is the new solution that we're recommending for those types of merchants that need that more e-commerce type of functionality?
Right. They need an e-commerce solution, which ours really wasn't. Like we mentioned earlier, this is 14 years old. And I think when Scott created it, he was creating it for a merchant that wanted to sell a couple jars of jam. So it was to help them, but it was early on, and it's now needs merchants who need e-commerce need to have an e-commerce solution.
Yeah.
So we're recommending 3D Cart. We're partnering with them. They are expecting calls from merchants. They have various different levels. If you're a smaller merchant and just need a smaller program, up to that scales on up to an enterprise type merchant who has many items to sell.
Yeah.
And they've been with us. I've been here 5 years, and they've been with us the whole time. So I know they've been here longer than that.
Yeah. We've definitely started strengthening our partnership with them, and they have a really great solution. I would say if you guys have any interest in learning more about that e-commerce, we're going to have some more information soon. But in the meantime, you can reach out to us, Marcy, at sales@paytrace.com. And 3D Cart's actually set up their own box specifically for PayTrace, so you can get a hold of them at paytrace@3dcart.com. So a couple different options there, but definitely if you have questions, we want to be that resource. So last thing about payment link before we kind of start taking some questions here from the audience. You were pretty heavily involved in the beta testing, right? You were kind of the business development representative on that project. Do you have any specific stories or anecdotes of happy merchants, unhappy merchants or learning that we've gotten from that beta testing?
Yeah, we learned a lot of things. One of the concepts that PayTrace is working on right now is MVP to P. So we take a small slice and we put it out there because we want feedback. We don't expect to know everything that merchants want and exactly how they use it, with the idea that we're going to add and add and add to it until it gets to the almost perfect product. But we also learned that we can't put a really skinny dog out there at first. It's got to be it's got to be a dog that is not malnourished, so to speak. So we've learned we were putting out too skinny of a dog to begin with. So we'll try to fix that. People are probably just going, "What is she talking about, psycho?"
I think you need your coffee, Mars. We use a lot of interesting metaphors internally here when we're talking about kind of these new processes. But essentially, and this is what we had our national sales manager here, Eric Jenks, on the call, and he was talking about delivering new product, something deliverable every 2 weeks, which is pretty cool that we're making actual updates to our system on that time frame. That's
based on merchant feedback.
Based on merchant feedback, right? We're not just kind of winging this just to do whatever we feel like. So
yeah, when that first rolled out, there were about 5 or 6 things that merchants weren't liking, and they got those fixed within probably 5 days. Mm-hmm. So they were very responsive.
Yeah. Well, before we shift gears, we do have a few questions coming in on the payment link, so I want to take some time to answer some of those. We've got one from this gentleman named Jarek asking, well, first, if we coordinated our flannels. Yeah, I mean, Halloween, I guess, right? Fall time. Sure, why not?
I did have on a different shirt, and when I saw what he had on, it's like, I better change. So
we're all about fashion on the PayTrace Power30s. That's the number one goal for this is to look good. But Jarek does have another good follow-up question, is kind of the cost of the payment link. What does that fee structure look like for our partners?
Yeah, so it's just an additional monthly fee.
It's basically whatever pricing you currently have set up for your shopping cart.
Right.
We're not adding any additional fees. If your merchant's already using the shopping cart and we switched them over, we're not price bumping them. It's a complete kind of wash across the board. So, right, we're pretty standard pricing on that one.
And if they were using the product cart and they're no longer going to use the product cart, they can't. So you would enable the API if they were using 3D Cart. Yeah. Add that on.
So, fun fact, Todd's actually on the call.
Hey, Todd.
And you mentioned how we had a couple partners that were a little bit nervous about the new payment link change. Well, awesome feedback from Todd is he says that he was nervous about the change, but it went real smooth. Awesome. Thanks. Woo-hoo. So super excited. Thank you for the feedback, Todd. We love hearing that. Oh my gosh, we've got a lot of questions coming through. Couple more fee questions. I think we answered Eric's question as well, that this is going to be a separate monthly fee, kind of like a lot of the other products that we support, like recurring payments API.
Yep.
For a lot of our partners. It's just kind of that extra additional fee. So
It's just another value added module.
exactly. If your merchants don't need it, right, you don't have to pay for it. So we don't want to have to add costs where it doesn't need to be. Cheryl has a great question. Are there any sort of documentation or resources for the new payment link that we can share out quite yet?
There isn't completely. I know on the product matrix or the feature matrix on the bottom of our website, you should be able to go on there and at least check out it'll probably still say shopping cart unless they've already updated it to payment cart, but that will give you the features of what payment cart is.
Yeah. So one other thing with that, this is a brand new product. We wanted to get this in your guys' hands as quickly as possible to start selling. So we do have, our support team is working on some additional training videos, some resources for you guys. We're going to have some documentation available shortly. But in the meantime, I think one of the best things that our partners can do is have this on your demo account and actually play around with it, right? Use it.
Yeah.
I think most of our demo accounts have been migrated, but again, if they're not, if you still have the old shopping cart, let us know, let Marcy know. And we want to get that fixed for you so you can get your hands on this sooner than later.
And I believe the general demo account has it available now. So demo123 for both username and password, all lowercase, no spaces. You should be able to play with it on there.
Yeah. We did get some security questions coming up with regards to the payment link. What types of security features do we have available tied in with this?
Well, it's a secure link, and then it's got the CAPTCHA on there.
We do have some other filters like auto void.
Right. They can require CSC and auto void if it's a mismatch on the CSC.
Yeah. And just to be transparent, we did see some phishing attempts coming through years ago back on the shopping cart, right? Where, scammers would be testing cards, and that's not good. But I think since we've enabled the CAPTCHA and had some of these other fraud tools, have you seen any come through lately? I haven't. So, which is pretty cool, right? Especially for a customer facing product like this. It's a fairly, I'd say, very secure feature of ours.
Absolutely.
So yeah, lots of protection there.
Can I tell a funny story when I was on the support team?
Yeah, do it.
So a lady calls up and she's a little bit older than me. And she says, my boss told me I need to get a payment link on our website. And she goes, are you kidding me? What does he think I am? Some sort of IT developer? She was really freaking out. And I go, it's really easy. I go, we can walk through this. And you could hear her go, really? You can help me do this? And we just walked her through it, get the settings, the design, the way it was, copy and paste. And that merchant was so happy and so amazed that she was able to do that.
Yeah.
It's just that easy.
It's super simple.
It's super simple. Anybody who has a website should have it.
Yeah. You don't have to be a web developer, which is so cool, right? Even Marcy can do it.
Even I can do it.
Guys, we've got a crazy amount of questions here, and I'd love to answer all those, but because of limited time, I do want to talk really quick about our other new product that we've launched, which is our revamped mobile app, PayTrace GO.
PayTrace GO.
Right? James, would you mind pulling up kind of the little screenshots of that so we can see what that looks like? So this is really cool, and Marcy's actually got it on her phone. Was that? Yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So for merchants that want to take mobile payments, right? This sounds like it's a pretty good tool. What can you tell us about the mobile app, and maybe what's changed about it?
Oh, so much has changed about it. Number one, we have our developer in-house now in the Spokane area, let's put it that way, instead of out of the country. So that is super nice. He has actually come down and spent some time in our office when we were working through it. And he's just making it more user-friendly. They've deleted about 5 screens that were totally unnecessary. You no longer have to register and unregister your device. They're just trying to make it a lot more the user interface more friendly, more intuitive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just very nice. We've got the Apple app is out now and available, and the latest release happened to clean up a lot of errors on the card reader side, so that has been wonderful. They just said yesterday that they've got the Google app ready for testing in-house here, so as soon as we test that thoroughly, we'll get that out to the Google store, and it usually takes a few days for them to get that uploaded. So I hope within the next week to 10 days maybe we'll have the Google app out there. Sweet. And the Apple app is new.
Yeah. So if you guys do have your iPhones, your iPads, whip those out. Feel free to download it. Right? What's the cost for this thing? It
costs nothing to use the mobile app. So, and we do have card readers if they want them. They're not EMV yet, but that's on our wish list soon. But card readers are available. But the other nice thing about using the app is you can get an electronic signature, which will stay with that receipt for forever. So that's kind of nice for, you know, if you have any chargebacks or anything like that, or having to go back and retrieve a receipt.
Yeah, so that's really cool, right? So check that out. If you do have questions about the mobile app, again, contact us. It should be a really great feature. Just another value add. Again, does not cost anything additional for PayTrace merchants. So everybody should have it on their phones. There's no reason not to. A couple more questions. We've got about 3 more minutes left, and there's some good ones in here. Cheryl had another one that's super pertinent to PayTrace. One of the markets that we talked about with regards to Payment Link is B2B, right? There's a lot of B2B merchants that are, you know, using this tool. But with regards to the interchange optimization, the level 3 processing, how does PayTrace manage that?
Good news. Yeah. PayTrace, for every transaction that comes to PayTrace, no matter if it's through our Payment Link, no matter if it's through our mobile app, every transaction is looked at to see whether it's a level 2 or level 3 type card. So that's one of the unique things about PayTrace is we support level 2, level 3 on every product.
Yeah, every product, mobile app, Payment Link, all that.
Shopping carts.
Yep, everything. So very cool. You mentioned that we don't currently support EMV yet for the app, but what are the current readers that we do support?
They're both the UDynamo and the iDynamo. So iDynamo is specifically for Apple products. And then the UDynamo, the way I think of it, is universal. It fits both. It fits both devices, Android and Apple, through the audio jack.
I love that.
Helpful hint.
Yeah, helpful hint. And those are both MagTech devices,
yes,
right?
Yes,
right.
Yes.
MagTech I and UDynamo. I feel like you should be like the spokesperson for the MagTech mobile reader. U for universal. Let's see. Terry has a question on here. Not sure if saw this question, but how many unique links can a merchant create with the Payment Link? Oh, it's a long one. So let's start with that one. How many unique links can you create with the Payment Link?
Help me.
It's just one. It's one link. You send it out to everybody, all your friends and family. It's the exact same link every time, and it never expires. So it works for everybody, right? And when you get that payment coming through, it's going to show up on the reporting as coming from that customer, right? For the email and invoice option, those are all unique to the specific payee that we're sending
right,
to.
Right.
And those are one-time use links, right? So great question. And with regards to the Payment Link, can you modify that link like to be able to hard code amounts to associate with certain items or events?
I do believe the answer is yes.
So you can preset the amount that goes out with that Payment Link so that when somebody opens it up, it's going to show that amount. But that is adjustable, right, on the Payment Link. So if you need that hard-coded amount, the better option would be
through the integration,
through the API, right, through the invoicing tool that we have. So a couple different pros and cons to each. It should fit most merchants, though, right? You've got a few options there. Very great question, Terry. Thank you. And how are we doing on time? Let's take one more. We're like right at time. Chris has a question kind of an operational question with the PayTrace GO app. But how do you make sure that's enabled? Do you have to have the API turned on for that?
Yes. So our app works through our API. So if you enable the API on the merchant account, there is a drop-down menu that you want to grab the PayTrace GO drop-down, because that tells our system you're using the API only for PayTrace GO, and therefore we won't charge you the monthly fee.
Absolutely, right.
So important.
Yep, that's a very important detail. We don't want to have those merchant fees come in and they're like, why am I getting charged for this app? I was told it was free. Yeah. You just have to do the right enablement.
And the app actually is free.
It is.
When you download it.
Correct, right, from the App Store. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm getting the notification that it is time to wrap this up. So thank you again, everybody, for attending today's call. If you didn't have your question answered, we're going to be looking through the Q&A this afternoon and following up with you guys individually. Again, if you do have questions for myself, for Marcy, for any of the PayTrace sales team, contact us at sales@paytrace.com. And again, if you want to have access to this payment link demo, let us know if your demo account needs that enabled and we'll get you set up. Well, Marcy, thanks so much for coming back.
See ya.
All right. See you, everybody.